Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, it's that goal!
Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV and welcome to live coverage this afternoon as the Bluebirds host Nottingham Forest here at Cardiff City Stadium. Thankfully, a Cardiff City Stadium that is able to welcome back the Bluebird faithful once again after that one and done game behind closed doors again against Blackburn Rovers a few weeks ago. And let's hope that the fans in here this afternoon can make all the difference to this continued Bluebirds stuttering form that has them very much at the wrong end of the table and very much involved in a relegation fight in this championship season. It's a roll of the dice this afternoon, let's be fair, for Steve Morrison. It's a very bold team selection. It's been a couple of days of acquisitions here in the Welsh capital, and two of those players go straight in to the team this afternoon, namely Alfie Doughty and Jordan Hugill. There are changes aplenty from that defeat, and a very, very disappointing defeat to boot a week ago, 8 days ago in fact, at Bristol City. And changes, as I said, aplenty throughout the 11. So I'll quickly run you through the Cardiff City team because there's too many to simply touch on. Alex Smithies retains his place in goals. That remains static. The back three we expect this afternoon though. Sean Morrison back in the team, back with the armband, plays as the centre of the centre defensive three, flanked by Mark McGuinness to his right, and we think Perry and G to his left. So he has stepped inside from the left wing back role to a left centre half position. That allows new arrival Alfie Doughty, recently signed as recently as yesterday on the dotted line on loan from the rest of the season from Stoke City, to play as the left wing back. Cody Drammer keeps his position after a lively first two games in a Cardiff shirt as the right wing back. There's a new look central midfield three. It's the three that played a bit of the second half together at Ashton Gate. Joe Rolls, Tommy Doyle, so influential in that Cardiff opening goal, and also Ryan Wintle, of course, recalled this month on loan from Blackpool. So they'll make up a three. We think it might be Rolls and Doyle to flank Wintle as that three, Wintle playing as the holder. And a completely new look strike partnership. Max Waters starts, having scored off the bench in that brief cameo at Ashton Gate that very fleetingly gave the Bluebirds some hope in injury time, and he is joined by Jordan Hugill, who officially was announced this morning. He's straight in the team rather for his Cardiff City debut this afternoon. It's been a stuttering season for him, hasn't had the run of games he would have liked at West Bromwich Albion, but one thing for certain in his career as a championship player, whenever he's played against Cardiff City over the years, he has caused the Bluebirds problems. That's the Cardiff 11. It's interesting, it's exciting, new look, new players, and in terms of Doughty and Hugill, some new signings as well for Cardiff fans to sink their teeth into. Changes as well for Nottingham Forest ahead of this 4 o'clock kick-up this afternoon. It looks like Ryan Yates, normally a central midfielder, is going to drop back and play on the right-hand side of the back three. It's a similar formation the two teams are playing in this afternoon. He's played there a couple of times of late, as Jack Colback as a left back, so there's a bit of flexibility with Nottingham Forest. They could play three at the back, they could play a 4-4-3. I think it might be Ryan Yates to drop in and play as a right-sided centre half. James Garner, Jack Colback, and just ahead of them Philip Zinkenenkel look like they're going to play as a central midfield three. And there's a change up top where Keenan Davis drops out to the team, the Aston Villa loanee, and it looks like he's going to go with a front pairing of Lewis Grabban, who's got 5 goals in his last 8 games in all competition, alongside young Welsh international Brennan Johnson. Those are the teams for this afternoon's game with here at Cardiff City Stadium between the Bluebirds and Nottingham Forest. Let's throw you over to what manager Steve Morrison had to say ahead of this game, and we'll come up and have a chat between myself and my colleague Connor Pearce.
We will continue to keep pushing and working hard, and as I said, I don't think we're far away at all. I think from a statistical point of view, if you look at the game on Saturday, we still beat them in all areas. We just let ourselves down on an individual basis too many times and conceded goals. So we're not far away. We just need to tighten it all up and keep working hard on the training ground. We've had a really good week's training, and let's hope they carry that on into the game on Sunday. Being brought on as a sub, I've got to change the game as much as I can, and it's a shame we couldn't get a result, but to get a goal, my first goal for Cardiff, it's good for me. We need to win every game. It don't get much tougher than Nottingham Forest on the run they're on. So look, we all know what we've got to do, and I can assure you we're all trying our best to do that. Yeah, they're doing really well at the moment. They're in a good place in the table, so it's going to be a tough game on Sunday. It's just we need all the support we need, especially now we have the fans back in. So once they're back in, they can get on our side, and it will help us out a lot. We've been very honest. We've been very open as a group. I have to you guys. We all know where we are and what we've got to do. We just need to concentrate on our job and not get too carried away. The next one is Nottingham Forest, and that's all we're focused on. And then off the back of that, we have a huge run of games, which is Saturday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Sundays, or Wednesday, Sundays, however it might look. I think it's about 5 weeks. So, yeah, lots of tough games in there, lots of winnable games. Just need to keep believing and keep fighting. And we've got a group of players who will definitely do that. I've just learned that whatever the opportunity I've been given, I've got to take it with both hands. I got put out on loan, and I think it helped me out massively. Learning to be dropped out, and then got to prove myself to be put back in the team. So I've learned a lot from it. Yeah, well, hopefully it can make a huge difference. It's always great to play in front of your fans. So yeah, really looking forward to the game. Big game, big occasion. Fans back. Live on Sky, so hopefully it'll be a good afternoon. Yeah, we're always looking up, always positive, always confident that we're going to get the next result. It is obviously scary being that low in the table, but I'm confident, and I think the team's confident that we can get ourselves back up.
Welcome back, Steve Morrison and Max Waters. A bit of a curveball there. Ahead of this afternoon's game against Nottingham Forest here at Cardiff City Stadium, back in front of the Bluebirds faithful here in the main bowl. I am joined by my colleague Connor Pearce ahead of kick-off to hit on the headlines heading into this one. Let's not revisit 8 days ago and that defeat at Ashton Gate. It wasn't the best day at the office, let's be fair, pretty much after the 25-minute mark, and Steve Morrison himself has spoken about that in the week. Plenty more positivity around the place this week. Some new faces, very much needed to freshen things up. And they've gone straight into the team. So it's a bold team selection, to say the least, isn't it?
It is a bold team selection, Ash. 2 new signings at both ends of the pitch. Obviously, the departure of Ryan Giles freed up a bit of space on that left-hand side, which we expect Alfie Doty to come into. And then Jordan Hugill up front, a proven player at this level for Preston North End. Good spell at QPR a few years ago, and interesting to see that he goes straight into the side as well. So it is bold from Steve Morrison, and we'll see how it pans out in terms of formation this afternoon.
And I guess the Doty situation himself, we'll be hearing from Alfie Doty actually before kick-off. It kind of encapsulates where Cardiff are at the moment in needing to roll that dice for a bit of a spark, especially on that left-hand side. He's only played, the most he's played is 21 minutes of Championship football this season off the bench. He did start the FA Cup game for Stoke a few weeks ago, lasted 70 on that occasion. Don't expect him to go the 90 this afternoon, but Steve Morrison feels like he needs that spark of inspiration to balance the team out on the left-hand side, because Cody's slipped in quite nicely on the right.
Exactly, and we saw last week that Perry and G moved over to the left, perhaps not his most natural position. It'll be interesting to see where Perry slots in today, whether that is at a flat back 4 or as right side of a central 3. But it's interesting that Doty and Hugill both come to Cardiff City Stadium with a point to prove. Not a lot of minutes for them this season at their respective clubs. Obviously Hugill on loan out at West Brom, and that loan was cut short. But it's interesting that they both want to come here. Alfie Doty will hear from him, but he said that he wanted to get his name out there, play minutes, make a name for himself in the Championship, and he has that opportunity to do that today.
In terms of the team selection, it all, obviously we're talking about on paper at the moment, let's see what happens when the game kicks off, but it looks more balanced. Tommy Doyle brought an element of balance to the midfield last week that we'd been missing. The cross for the goal, we now have options to play those cross from the inside positions, Rolls on one side, Doyle from the other, and G seemingly playing as a centre half. It's what we've been asking for months now, just to shake things up and not have three static centre halves in the back line. Morrison's back in, which is what people have been clamouring. People have been clamouring for Waters to get a start since he's come back. It looks like Morrison's listened and gone, look, this is what the fans are asking for. I can see. Let's see what happens.
Let's see, and it's interesting that the players that have come into the team already have those goal contributions. We saw Tommy Doyle, as you say, with that assist last week. Ryan Wintle coming into the starting lineup today, came on at Ashton Gate, put that cross in for Max Waters, who got his first goal in a Cardiff City jersey. So very interesting to see how those players link up in those midfield and attacking areas, and especially with the new lads on either flank. Cody Trama's played 2 games at league level here, looked impressive, particularly against Blackburn Rovers. So we'll see how that defensive change at the back, no Aidan Flint, no Curtis Nelson in the starting lineup today. We'll see how that helps Cardiff going forward, and as you say, adds a bit of balance to that team.
Doesn't get much tougher as an ask though, does it? Let's switch focus now to Nottingham Forest. They're on a remarkable run of form, 2 defeats in 15 games in all competitions, including of course that victory over Arsenal in the FA Cup. Steve Cooper, former Swansea man, has completely changed around the long-suffering fortunes of this football club. There's a balance to the way they play. Yates has dropped into the back line, but not too much to-ing and fro-ing in the starting 11 over recent months. You know what you're going to get from them. They're balanced, they're competitive, and now with Grabban back amongst the goals, they're a dangerous outfit. And the game could be, we've spoken about our wing-backs, won and lost in those wide areas, because Spence and Lowe are as good as any pairing at this level.
Absolutely, they've been a fantastic duo for Forest this season. You always get that one team that makes that late burst at the table into the playoffs that you don't expect. And I know we're still in January, but I don't think many people would have predicted that Forest would be that side from where they started the season under Chris Hughton. A lot of people thinking that maybe they would have been a side to keep an eye on. Didn't start very well, but they've shown that they do have the players in that squad when that formation works for them. And as you say, with Grabban and Brennan Johnson up front, it's a real dangerous attacking duo that we really have to be careful to this afternoon.
They've lost players in there. No Joe Worrell. He looks like he's going to be out for a couple of months. They were already short of options in certain elements as well, especially in the middle of the park. But Steve Cook, that's an incredibly canny acquisition. Bournemouth seemingly didn't want him. They've obviously got Cahill as their experienced option in their squad. He just brings such an element of calm to that back line. It's been here 4 games. They've won all 4 games, including the Arsenal game and conceded once.
And it shows how vital a championship experience is at this level, especially when you have players like Spence and Lowe who are really showing their talent but haven't got those games under their belt at this level just yet. And so having a presence like Cook in that side, who's won the division as a captain at Bournemouth, played in the Premier League as well, really, really smart signing from Forest. And Steve Cooper obviously reached the playoffs twice in his 2 seasons with Swansea City, knows how this league works, and looks to have really made a big impact on this Forest squad.
Let's quickly look at the context of the Cardiff season, where we find ourselves at the moment. And I think the way fixtures went yesterday and the way the league table is now playing out, it's almost removed that dubious notion that Cardiff could sleepwalk themselves into a relegation battle, isn't it? That's not happening. We are in a relegation battle. There's no looking up the table. Up the table is already 9 and 12 points ahead of us and out of sight. Cardiff need to solidify the position they're ahead of him, which means staying ahead of Peterborough. Of course, we play in a couple of weeks' time, and staying ahead, crucially, of Reading and Derby, who could yet put a run of games together, depending on how transfer deadline day goes for them on Monday.
Exactly, it's one of the things that we love about this league, that a run of games can shoot you up the table, or sides around you can just go on these runs, and all of a sudden you look at the table and that points gap appears from nowhere. Unfortunately for us, that's the position that we find ourselves in, with a bit of work to do in that current position. You're absolutely right, Ash, no point in looking at the table for the minute. Huge games coming up, a month of February packed with fixtures, some really, really important games, and that has to start here at Cardiff City Stadium, thankfully with a full crowd supporting the boys this afternoon.
Yeah, as Connor says, 8 games coming up in the month of February. Quite absurd, to be honest. We're playing weekend, midweek for the whole of the month of February. In fact, into the first week of March. So we've got 10 games in 5 weeks. And that's after a run where Cardiff haven't played a midweek fixture in the entirety of December and January. The going really does start to get tough. It starts this afternoon here against Nottingham Forest. Thanks for joining us here on pre-match on Cardiff City TV. If you're watching, of course, in certain markets outside outside of the UK this afternoon, then you can stay with me and watch the game this afternoon live. Otherwise, you'll probably find another means to watch it. Hopefully, you're finding yourself here back at Cardiff City Stadium, because a whole host of Cardiff fans have been able to welcome back this afternoon after that behind closed door game against Blackburn Rovers, and the fans, the players, are ecstatic to have them back. We are now going to hear from new Cardiff signing Alfie Doherty, signed on loan from Stoke for the remainder of the season. He's gone straight into the starting line this afternoon, and this is what he had to say ahead of today's game.
Alfie, welcome to Cardiff City. It's all come about quite quickly, but you must be delighted for what's ahead for the next few months.
Definitely. I haven't had many games this season, and this is kind of just an opportunity to make a name for myself, and I can't wait to get started.
It's a loan until the end of the season, starting, of course, against Nottingham Forest on Sky on the weekend. A big debut, hopefully, with a decent crowd as well.
Yeah, can't wait. I think there's no way better to start a game, really, on Sky Sports against Forest at home. I think it's best, and I think that's the way. It's kind of how I wanted it to be, because now I can just show the fans what I'm capable of. Anybody
in the dressing room that you've played with in your career before?
Just Dylan, the goalkeeper. Had a couple of years with him at Charlton. Great guy. So I think as soon as I can just mix him with the crowd, then I think they're all going to be a good bunch.
And tell the fans a little bit about what they can expect from you as a player. What do you like to do? What's your game?
Just someone who just runs in behind. I only look forward. I'm quick, and I just kind of get people off their feet. So hopefully they'll like me.
Drizzly all day in South Wales today, but I'm sure you'll be looking forward to seeing a bit of Cardiff and getting that experience.
100%. I think it's the first time I've kind of been down here properly, so can't wait. I mean, it's not sunny Stoke. I mean, it's not exactly that nice out there, but no, I can't wait for it. So just be here and be around it.
It goes without saying, it is a bit of a battle. We're at the wrong end of the table. You're looking forward to sort of digging in, having that fight, really, as well as showing what you can do going forward. But it's a real battle we're up against, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, I was in the same situation at Charlton 2 years ago, and it's just every game is a massive game, and I think that's why I'm going to enjoy it so much. Is because every game you need to win, or you need to get some points on the board, and I'm just ready to do it.
And finally, what's the manager said to you? You've had a little chat this morning, not too long, of course. It's quite early here in the Vale, but what's the manager said to you?
I think he's just there to just enjoy myself. He knows what he knows what I can do. So as long as I can perform for him and get what I can do on the pitch, then I think we'll have no problems.
And I understand you have a number 18 on your back. Any special reason for that?
To be fair, I was 18 at Charlton, and do you know what? I just quite like the number. It's clean, and it's just one of those numbers.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Morrison's gone forward from the back, so towards Bambar. Who will take this one? We're right behind the line of the shot, if it is going to be a shot. Looks as if it's going to be Highland. 16 minutes to go. One apiece. It is Highland, chipping it high towards the far post. Roddy down in front of goal, and Gunnarsson has scored! It's 2-1.
Oh, what a finish from Aaron Gunnarsson. Readjusts in the air, is able to swivel onto the ball and smash it home on the volley. Low and hard beyond the keeper.
Great Disney dancing and came involved again. Now Peter wins again! Oh, brilliant! Some day, some start here for Rocky Stadium for Cardiff City. This one, the only question remains, can they keep it clean sheet? Gambit on defence in the centre circle for Kavanagh to come forward. Morris playing with 10 men. Kavanagh still going forward into the area. Can he get his shot in? He can. Yeah. Oh, what a goal from Graham Kavanagh! Forward, Harris on the chase and he's beaten Lehigh. He's going to take on Warren and he goes to the byline, gets the cross in, cleared away, comes out to Gunnarsson, he tries the shot. What a goal from Aaron Gunnarsson!
That's a wonderful strike. He has time to line it up, and his opportunity, and his technique doesn't let him down. Good positive play from Joe Bennett and Kadeem Harris on the left flank. A lovely weighted ball. The left-hand channel for us. Morrison had a long way to go, but made up that ground pretty quickly. Got there before Ben Osborne. Now Ward's in possession again, end-to-end stuff. Edge of the area on his left foot, takes the shot on beautifully so. 25-yard rising effort, and it's flown past Jordan Smith in the Forest goal. And Cardiff lead by 2 goals to 0.
What a strike that is from Danny Ward. Right into the top corner of the net. He's cut in on his left foot. We said it was a warning for Forest. They've been committing plenty of men forward. And Danny Ward stayed there, managed to get on the ball, and he's managed to capitalise on that. He's cut in, fired it into the top corner of the net. It's a fantastic strike from the forward.
It's a sensational strike from Danny Ward. Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal! Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City Stadium for live coverage of the Bluebirds' home encounter this afternoon with Nottingham Forest. The last kick-off of this championship weekend, and the Bluebirds in this wretched run of form really need something from this afternoon as we head into a packed February fixture list. 10 games upcoming in the next 5 weeks. We are playing essentially weekend, midweek for the next 5 weeks straight, and it starts this afternoon here against Steve Cooper's Nottingham Forest. 2 teams whose form couldn't be any polar opposite. The Bluebirds struggling for wins, last finding a win in the league back in early November. For Nottingham Forest, they find themselves on a run of just 2 defeats in their last 15 games in all competitions, and that includes that eye-catching 1-0 win over Arsenal in the FA Cup earlier this month. It's 4 wins on the bounce heading into this game for Forest. Barnsley, Derby, Millwall, all vanquished in the league ahead of this afternoon. It's a huge task for the Bluebirds, and a very, very much new-look Bluebirds also. Plenty of changes to tell you about ahead of this game. 2 new arrivals in terms of signings into the building this week. Both go into the starting lineup in the forms of Alfie Doughty and Jordan Hugill. There's also a recall for captain Sean Morrison. There's also a recall for thousands upon thousands of Cardiff City fans in here this afternoon, able to welcome them back with COVID restrictions easing in the Welsh capital, and they're back here to roar on the Bluebirds. That game against Blackburn Rovers last time out at home was a return to the days in which we never wanted to see again here at Cardiff City Stadium. The behind closed doors fixture, the likes of which we thought we'd seen the back of. Thankfully, Cardiff fans are back in voice this afternoon. There is your Cardiff team. Plenty of changes. Sean Morrison returns to anchor the defensive unit. Perry and G plays as a left-sided centre-back. Alfie Doherty makes his debut at left wing-back. Ryan Winkle starts in the midfield 3. And there's also a start up top for both Jordan Hugill and for Max Waters. It's new look in terms of personnel. It's the same shape. Let's hope it brings a different of result. For Nottingham Forest, it's pretty stable at the moment for them. The only change sees Ryan Yates dropping back in, we think, to play as a right-sided centre-half. That graphic shows you a 4-2-3-1 shape, which they have also utilised in recent weeks. But 2 weeks ago, Ryan Yates played as a right-sided centre-back in a shape that would match up Cardiff. It'll be interesting to see which way Steve Cooper heads into this one. He's played his cards pretty close to his chest. There is Jordan Hugo. Hasn't had a great deal of minutes, not a great deal of run of form at West Brom in his loan deal earlier this season. He was recalled by Norwich, sent immediately to Cardiff, and he goes straight in to the starting lineup. So take a minute to reflect that there's a banner making its way around the